All right, it's part 2. We are doing the Pacific Division to start. That is the division that has both LA teams in it. It also has the Phoenix Suns, who have an over-under. Is that going up past 47.5 right now on FanDuel?
I see 47.5.
Okay. They are plus 150 for the division, which to me is a bet.
If you don't know, nobody knows.
They are 13-1 to be the 1 seed, which I think is semi-enticing as like an OKC backup bet. And in general, new coach, Coach Bud is in town. They added Tyus Jones. They're finally going to have a point guard. I like Plumlee. I like Monty Morris. Russillo. I love this team. For the over. Yeah, I think the 47.5 is beyond tasty and beyond enticing. I think this is a low to mid 50s win team. Bud's going to have them shooting threes. Durant and Booker coming off the Olympics. I was out last year. I'm in this year.
When we last saw them, punked by Minnesota.
I know.
Everybody laughing at him.
I get
Bradley Beal. It's funny. You want to look at like some misleading numbers. Look at Bradley Beal's like overall numbers and then his splits and, all this stuff. Look, I'm with you. I am really impressed with what they were able to do on the margins, considering they had no options. To have Tyus Jones as an option, you can have Booker on the ball later if you want to do that. Grayson Allen was incredible. They kept Royce O'Neal. This Ryan Dunn thing is even weirder because
he's been a preseason.
Yeah.
Is this going to be like a Phil Plantier situation, or do we believe this is it's a deep cut early 90s baseball joke?
I'm really excited about it. But look, there's no way. Here's why it's an over for me. They had the worst offense in the NBA in the fourth quarter and the worst net rating. Of 30 NBA teams, this team had the worst net rating in the fourth quarter. It makes no sense. There's no way that happens again. I think it's an over because even through all of their nonsense, they won 49 games last year.
It's a super over for me as well. I mean, I think that the Coach Bud thing is one of the quieter developments in the West and what that does to propelling this team. I think they're like going to be in that 4 seed, maybe even battling for the 3 seed.
I have them as a 2 seed.
In the Western Conference?
I do.
Wow. So that means
I think
you
it's
have them over Minnesota.
I have them right next to each other.
And you have them over Dallas?
And by the way, I like Vogel. And I think he's a good coach who won a title. I just think he was the wrong coach for that team.
It was terrible timing, too. They threw that whole effing team together.
That team was never going to be good on defense, right? Yeah. You bring in Vogel, it's like he's going to bring in defensive to do it. And it's like, you know what? This team's not going to be great on defense. You know what they're going to be really good at? Offense. And I think Bud is just going to, you can see it. He's like, shoot some fucking threes. Get those threes up. That's it.
Yeah, you're all good shooters. And Bradley Beal, if he can just play 60 games. He hasn't done that in 5 years.
I don't even know if it matters with him. I'm serious.
Yeah, he's a bonus.
I'm saying it's exactly.
Yeah. But that's the range between 51 and 55 wins for me if he shows up.
Right.
Can I read you some Bud stats?
I love that people love Bud again.
Regular season Bud.
Won a title.
With all this talent.
Well, I'm going to give you some stats. Career, 801 and 484. 60.4% winning percentage. He had 5 50-win seasons. 2 of those were 60-plus. Here are all the coaches that have 800-plus wins, 60% winning percentage. Phil Jackson, Red Auerbach, Steve Kerr, Greg Popovich, Pat Riley, Jerry Sloan, and Coach Bud. That's the entire list. He's a good coach. The Milwaukee thing got super weird, and you could go back and you could watch those games, and you could watch that Miami game, which I think blew your brain. You did.
Blew my brain out.
I think you just did a solo pod for like 7 hours after that last Jimmy Butler game.
I think
it's Russillo hour 7 here on the Russillo pod.
I think I did an emergency pod for that game.
I think the pod accidentally turned on. You were just talking to yourself, and we just somehow were recording
really good chance that's also true.
But yeah, I just think Milwaukee got weird. It was time for him to go. I like everything I've read about him. Everyone's like, this guy's in great shape. He was kind of a mess in Milwaukee. Now he's like refocused, needed the year off. But this is like a mad scientist team. This is a team that would be really fun to coach or a nightmare to coach if you're the wrong kind of coach for it.
That's where I think the Vogel part of it, because it came together and these guys had all the answers, so they weren't going to listen to Vogel. And it's like, actually, you got embarrassed by like Ant punked you guys. So I think whoever the next coach was post Vogel is probably somebody they're going to respond to a little bit, because I think they thought they had the plan last year.
Right. We don't need, just roll the ball out.
If Vogel if it were reversed, who knows?
Well, I mean, he has Nurkic trying threes. I don't know if he's going to actually shoot them during the season, but
I hope they get off to a good start. I do. I hope they get off to a good start because I think the Durant stuff was heading towards Weird Town possibly this summer. But Phoenix, remember, you and I were doing the pod around the draft. ESPN was saying they wanted to trade him. And then I had even talked to somebody that said, you can say right now on the pod with Bill tonight, like, we're not trading Durant. And I was like, I hope you're not lying to me. And they weren't.
No.
Yeah.
Look, as you know, I completely overrate Olympic basketball at all times, but I think it was good for Durant.
That's just
Booker.
the Patriot in you.
I think it was good for Durant Booker that we had 6 dudes that in fucking nut crunch time that they trusted, and I thought it was a great experience for Booker.
That's my Booker position. Like all the Booker shit that I take.
It's a huge win for him.
Booker, Tatum, and everything. Like, there's a reason why I stand up for this guy all the time. So.
And Tyus Jones, who I think the diehard League Pass people, and I include the 3 of us, like, we really like that guy, and he was really good on Memphis, and then House had him.
That's all you can say.
But
still shot over 41% from 3 on 4 attempts a game.
The whole philosophy of we don't need a point guard, I will never believe that for the rest of my life. I think you need point guards.
The Billy Miller of NBA point guards.
Who's Billy Miller? Oh, Billy Miller.
Yeah.
Our Billy Miller.
Baseball Billy.
Yeah.
It's still amazing they got him.
It's amazing. It's because it seemed like
they had no outs, and then it was okay, re-sign and pay too much for this guy.
Where was everyone else? Like
Monty Morris. I mean,
that's another one.
Yeah,
they did a good job. New owner
Don't
syndrome.
Like their centers.
New owner syndrome is back. Ishbia is fucking making moves, man. I'm in on this Suns team, so we're all over 47.5. My guess, we have like 8-9 days left. I think that keeps going up. I bet
Maybe
that
so.
lands when people watch what the Suns are doing, how many threes they're taking. They're going to be really hard to play. The thing that makes me nervous is Durant. He was in the 2007 draft. House and I were watching a game last night. Remember they showed Greg Oden in the stands?
Yeah.
Greg Oden just looks like an old retired player. And he was in the draft with Durant. So it's just, once you get into year 18, year 19, I never feel awesome. But
of course.
I think, is Booker like a stealth MVP candidate? Like super duper long shot?
I don't know. Like, if they're going right, it probably means Durant is cooking again. I mean, he was 52, 41, 86 in 70 games last year. I mean, Durant, but then to watch what happened in Minnesota, you're like, okay, this isn't working out.
They have odds for him too, really 75-1.
You don't have to sell me on Booker.
Booker, 100-1.
Nah.
If they're a 1 or a 2 seed, they're at least going to be in the conversation.
Good value.
I just think those are crazy values
for
a team that I think can be the 2 seed. All right, next team's Sacramento. Their over is 44.5, which went down. I think it was 45.5. Might even been 46.5.
It did.
They're plus 240 for the division. They're minus 170 for the playoffs. They were 46-36 last year, and what they did was they turned Harrison Barnes into DeMar DeRozan. And they start Sabonis and Murray and DeRozan and Fox and maybe Ellis, Monk coming off the bench. Monk.
You're going to get it down this year?
Monk.
You going to try it again?
Monk. Trey Lyles is there.
What do you think the origin of that is?
I just, listen, I can't control my
I have weird ones too, but that's a weird one.
Weird one.
Yeah.
So this team, I don't know why they were 48-34 2 years ago and 46-36 last year. When I did my Ringer 100 voting, I had them 19, 27, 46, 90, and 97. I had 5 of their guys in the top 100, including 2 in the top 30. They also have some trade bait. Herter's 16.8. They have Lyles,
McDaniel. If you want to ruin your entire team's chemistry.
Carter. Well, sorry, I should have given you a warning on that. But they have moves they can make to get one more guy, and I think I'm over. I think they're a top 8 team. I like their team. I think they're going to be hard to play.
I'm an over, slight over, but I think the DeRozan thing raises their floor because Harrison Barnes would also be a first-team selection of did he play tonight? And be like, you just watched him play 38 minutes.
It felt like he was getting a little worse, too.
So it makes sense for San Antonio, but when I run through it, I mean, they've got kind of a Keon Ellis like thing where, you know, they probably really liked his defense, which also made them feel like they could move on from Davion Mitchell, who they'd spent a lottery pick on, who, like, let's face it, he's probably a rotational guard, never going to be a starter for anybody that's pretty good. So, you know, DeRozan 3 years ago with the Chicago deal, I thought, man, we'll see how that ages out. And it aged out beautifully for them. I just like where it puts their floor. They're going to try to run you up and down. They're not going to be able to defend anybody. Like, who cares about the playoff projection for them and playing bigger teams like we saw against New Orleans last year, where it's just like one of those moments where you go, this is an awful matchup for them every time they play. I just think DeRozan, you plugging him into those Barnes minutes, and Fox and the rest of everybody else is young.
There's a lot on Fox last year at the end of games, too.
Yeah.
House.
No, and that's DeRozan.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fine, right?
2 places to go. House, really good league pass team.
Oh,
I could see you falling asleep in front of the couch on the East Coast many times.
I need to see
Isaac Jones,
the Red Mamba, at all times. Maryland guy, the Red Mamba, Kevin Porter. So
comeback. No, not a lot of people predicting comeback here. I don't know if you want to do an investor relations call. Want me to call one in quick?
It's a tiny bit of stock. I don't know.
Kevin Herter investor relations call.
Now, hey, look,
Russillo, you're like actually compromised here. What do you do?
All right. Here's the deal. When you're on your boat in 20 years, you've sold all your comedy CDs.
Yeah.
You're doing pretty good. You got a boat. Do you want to look at the guy's boat next to you and you want that guy's boat to be bigger or smaller? Because if you get out of this herder position now, you're going to be a fucking tender. You're going to be running groceries and shrimp and ice to that guy's boat. Okay. If you want the guy next to you running the supplies to you, asking anything else I can do for you.
Yeah.
That's why you're staying in this herder position right now. You want to get out like everybody else who's going to be in the small boat? Go ahead. Fucking grab some oars. Grab some oars.
It's a league that loves shooting.
Row. Yeah. Maybe you get into sailing, and I'm touching emergency sailing. You want something high powered, generators, the whole deal. Hold.
I agree.
It's a hold. It's a herder hold. We're doing it.
We all love shooting. I love guys who can make open threes. So you're over, House?
I'm over because
Trey Lyles.
You side by side the Pelicans and this team, and I like this team better than I like the Pelicans. I have the answers that I want to what this roster is going to look like.
And also when you're plugging in DeRozan, like, you want to talk about something I've never even worried about.
Right.
Like, oh, okay, cool. Like, he'll just get along with everybody, and he's better than the guy he's replacing.
And also plays really well against good teams. Every time he played the Celtics, I always felt like they had so many problems with him. And the Celtics were like, you would think the perfect type of team to defend him, but he always got shots that he liked. I have them as in that 6, 7, 8 range for seeds, maybe even getting a 6 if Memphis can't totally get their shit together. So I probably have them 6. But I think in that next batch of once you get past OKC, Phoenix, Minnesota, Dallas, Denver, and you go into that Memphis, Sacramento, Houston, Golden State, New Orleans, Lakers, that group, I think I like them the most.
Sure.
Also, really good home court. Like, it matters.
Yeah.
It's a team that
light the beam, baby.
will probably give a shit during the NBA Cup. I'm not positive everyone's going to care, but I think they will.
I like this.
So
let's look at that.
All right, we're overs for all of them. We're going to keep moving. Golden State Warriors. I mean, one of the toughest over-unders on the board.
Do we all like what they did this offseason, considering?
43.5 is the over. So the FanDuel didn't like it as much because they won 46 games last year.
I like the over.
You like the over?
I liked it at 42.5 more than 43.5 because I think it's a perfect number for this. Let me throw this at you. On January 1st, they were 15-17. It was something I was tracking for them in particular. From that point on, they went 39. They were 15-17 on January 1st. They went 31-19 the last 15. They were 8th in net rating, and that's with Draymond playing 55 games.
Yeah, I
like the depth. I like the multiple options that they have with these different mixes and matches.
He's
that
fired
Kirk
up
can
for this
do.
one.
Yeah.
I would hope that Draymond, I mean, he doesn't seem super, like, he's never going to be regretful. He's like defiantly not regretful about any mistakes he'd make, but I don't know that he's going to have the same kind of season like that. And then you just kind of plug Steph in here again. So I think when you look at that run over the last 50 games, that's what they talked themselves into. And
pretty big sample size.
Yeah. So I'm going over.
House, one of the reasons I went over, and the over is 43.5, is because of the depth that he just mentioned.
Yeah.
They go 12 deep. What's interesting is in that Ringer 100 exercise, they only had 2 guys for me in the I think 2 guys, Draymond and
Podziemski and Curry.
Well, and then Podziemski maybe has a chance to play himself in there. I couldn't quite put Kuminga in there. But when you think they're starting Draymond, Kuminga, Wiggins, Podziemski, Curry, they're bringing in Slow-Mo off the bench. Looney,
Jackson Davis,
Melton, Heald, Jackson Davis, Moody, Gary Payton II. I think you need to think this way in the regular season. Or the third.
Either one.
I thought it was the second.
I'm just kidding.
I thought this really helped the Celtics last year. Depth, giving guys nights off, and then having people come in who could actually like hold the fort. The Warriors are going to be the best example of this. They're just deep. And I think you need to be deep in 2024. House, where do you stand?
I agree with the idea of the depth. The depth doesn't really blow me away. A couple guys have been at a couple places, haven't really distinguished themselves.
But or that, right? Buddy Hield, Wiggins.
Everybody's waiting for Buddy Hield to really be that guy that's knocking down 6'3" a game or whatever.
Yeah, what happened the last 2 years with Buddy Hield?
Yeah, why couldn't he get off?
I
the
like
bench?
it in theory so much more than the
Sixers,
basketball. Yeah,
those Sixers games, we were like, dude, what? And he had the one after everybody was so frustrated that he didn't seem like he wanted to shoot.
Do you think Buddy Hield's agent called the Sixers or just was like, yeah, I don't even need to call? He did the token call?
Yeah, you have to.
Hey, it's Bob. Hey, Daryl. Just checking in. I know it wasn't a great season for Buddy, but, if you want to talk about a deal.
Golden State's an under for me because I don't think Steph's going to play 74 games. It's just that simple. I mean, I love Steph. I want to see him play as much basketball as possible. I hope he plays, but they have no margin for error if he doesn't play. None. There's no backup plan.
No, they're screwed.
Kuminga is balling out. Oh, congratulations. I mean,
my big question with this team was, did they find a younger, deeper, happier version of themselves? Because I don't think last 2 years were not exactly like super happy. And they had a lot of guns for hire and just weird kinds of.
I don't know if I pick them against anybody in the playoffs.
But all we care about is regular season.
Their record is, like they don't make the playoffs 2 of the last 4 years.
Yeah.
The bigger question to me is this just a trade machine team? They couldn't get a deal that they liked this summer. They put together a lot of assets and they're just open for business, really starting Thanksgiving.
Who wants what they have?
Well, they have a bunch of picks.
Okay.
It would be Kuminga continuing to improve, and then he's in the deal with
he's the
here's all
centerpiece
of our
deal with
picks.
picks.
Here's
Yeah,
all
and
of our picks.
expiring
Right.
contracts.
Fine.
And I'm not talking Zach LaVine level. Obviously, they weren't interested in Ingram. But if an actual star becomes available.
Well,
I
they
think
tried
they
the Paul George thing, but I just don't think there was ever a fit there. And I think there was a bunch of teams that tried on Lowry that were offering real things.
Yeah.
And then it didn't happen. But it would have to be somebody like, and can we stop with the Steph LeBron stuff that they're going to play together at some point? That doesn't really
They
make
just
a ton of
did.
sense.
It was fun. We just watched it. It was the Olympics. They're not playing together
They played 6
professionally.
games.
It was
And
cool.
Steph got hosed in the MVP.
Maybe.
Warriors playoffs minus 102.
No.
Plus 120 is the no.
Yeah, plus give me
Playing
plus
game
120.
is plus 140, Russillo. This team looks very playing.
I hate the playing game because it keeps getting rid of Steph.
Right.
It's fucking stupid. Like, oh, great.
You want 10 playoff teams?
Yeah,
now?
no.
Expand the playoffs to 10
when
so
we
the
had it-
Warriors can get in.
I'm trying to think now. If I look at it again, Golden State wouldn't even have been in the playoffs last year. Okay, but I think it was it 22 when I was at home, and I went, cool. Now Steph's not in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it was 22. That was the Lakers game.
Over for me, over for Russillo, under for
40,
House.
21. Under 43.5 for me. Absolutely, positively.
And that leads us to
21.
the Los Angeles Lakers. Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers of Los Angeles. 42.5 is the over-under. They're plus 440 for the division. Minus 110 for the playoffs. Plus 135 for the play-in. They added J.J. Redick as a new coach. They added Dalton Knecht. They lost Dinwiddie. They lost Prince. It's pretty much the same team except the coach changed.
That's added somebody else.
Who do you got? Wow. Koloko?
Yeah, that Arizona kid, big guy. I liked him. I turned him a couple years ago.
Throwing Koloko. So JJ wants to shoot more threes. Will this work?
They were incredibly lucky last year. So they're 47-35. They were expected 42-40. So they played over that. This is a super easy one for me. Incredible Anthony Davis year back on the map. LeBron makes it through all the way healthy. The fact that they got that from those two guys and they still are just kind of an
LeBron had his
afterthought.
best shooting year probably ever from three.
incredible. I'm not banking on that again, so it's an under. It's easy.
House.
It's so effing low. 42.5 is so goddamn low. But
If one of the two guys goes down,
That's it.
you've got it.
71 for LeBron last year, 76 for Anthony Davis. 76 games for Anthony Davis last year. Redick does want Davis to be shooting more threes. Does that help? Does that keep him on the court if Anthony Davis is shooting threes?
They were 8th in 3-point percentage last year, but they only took 31 threes a game.
Yeah.
So on paper, you're like, well, shoot more. So they're playing Davis, who shot, I think, 27% from three last year, Vanderbilt, who can't shoot, Cam Reddish, who can't shoot, Wood, who can't shoot, and Gabe Vincent, who only really had one decent 3-point shooting year. And then LeBron was career high. And then Russell was like, cool, can I shoot more threes? That's where so I can shoot 8? That sounds great. Could I be like Steph? I don't think it's going to work. And I just think it's a team that doesn't make sense to me.
The 33 games that Russell, Reeves, Rui, LeBron, and AD were the starting 5, they went 23-10. So that's your case for this team. And God, 42.5 is so goddamn low.
So you're going over.
The AD 3-point thing, I don't know if that's kind of the royal jelly deal or the old Sean Marion thing with D'Antoni, where D'Antoni would just be like, as soon as you catch it, let it fly. And it actually just made Marion a better shooter because it was something it was never a bad idea for him to shoot. So I don't know if that's, I have a hard time believing it's going to be that freewheeling as the 7 seconds are left Phoenix Suns here. But Davis hasn't been able to hit it from the outside now since New Orleans.
There's only one case for the over for me because I actually think this team's going to be in the mid to high 30s. I just don't think, especially with how deep the West is, LeBron, his age, the fact that he's going to miss 25, 26 games because that's just what's been happening the last few years.
Except for not last year.
But
he played 71.
Davis he's going to be 40.
Did he look slow to you in the Olympics?
If he plays that, it was 6 games in the Olympics.
And the games were 40 minutes.
That's the thing. And I even fell for it during the Olympics. Like it was a little bit of fool's gold where you had to play 6 Olympic games and those guys hadn't played basketball in 10 months and they were just working on their bodies in shape. And then it was this brief sprint. This is an 82-game season in a really good league that's as deep as it's ever been. I think it's a lot to ask to run everything through LeBron at his age at this point. I went over on them the last 2 years. I don't see it this year.
They barely squeaked that over last year. It was a miracle.
So the only case for it, Russillo, is that they don't have their pick. Their first round pick goes to New Orleans. They have no incentive to be like, oh, LeBron's hurt.
I'm not even thinking about that, though.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like they have to actually compete the whole year. There's no reason not to.
It's simply you're not getting the same AD LeBron participation. That's all it is.
Totally fine. I'll go under. I'm under.
I thought you were going over.
And 40. It's such a low number. It's absurd. But how do you
Somebody's got to be bad in the West.
147 games again out of those two guys.
If they were in the East, would they be an 8 seed for you guys?
Yeah,
I think so.
Against like Atlanta, Miami, I still don't think I would have Miami over them in the East.
Oh God, that's disrespectful.
Well, we'll talk.
That's very disrespectful.
All right, we're all going under. Russillo, is this a Zach LaVine panic trade waiting to happen? $43 million this year.
LeBron's always like them.
So yes,
I think it's going to be really aggressive, like the passive aggressive. It's going to be super passive aggressive. LeBron, if he's putting it together and, they're a few games out of wherever they are and they own their picks and people thought that was going to happen this summer.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why if LeBron were 30, I'd be giving into him. I'd do whatever he wants. I'd draft his kid, but I don't understand the purpose of like, let's do whatever this guy wants at 40 years old, even though he's pushed the boundaries of what we think is possible,
They're going to hit a dangerous spot with the Laker fans because you can't really mortgage anything else. We've already seen that the ceiling of this team is what it is. The teams around them are getting better.
I don't know if it's an ESPN. I don't understand. Like I'll see a clip pop out like a day and be like, so-and-so doesn't like their championship. And I'm like, why are you guys, no one's even thinking about that.
There's a separate
anymore.
league with OKC and Minnesota and Dallas and the Celtics and the Knicks. Like this team would have no chance in a series.
No serious person talks about the Lakers in like with a playoff run.
Well, ESPN will. It's probably leading NBA today.
Well, ESPN let a guy no longer works for them hijack the first game of the goddamn NBA Finals with Laker news about the head coach that never was going to effing land there. But great job. So yeah, that's definitely the let our perspective be colored by ESPN's editorial decisions.
House is really letting them
Wow.
have it. Were you in the
House.
PA program in the late 90s?
Jesus.
I was so upset. It was the NBA Finals. And they're doing a car wash of like, well, we're really going to put the Connecticut coach, to the test to be the potential
House doesn't like car
coach of the
washes.
Lakers. Get the F out of here.
Jesus.
I just want to watch the finals. I want to watch good teams play.
Well, the Lakers won't be one of them. And neither will be this next team. The Los Angeles Clippers.
Oh.
Over 37.5. I feel like that's dropped. I think that was higher before Kawhi
It was
like,
38.5. It was.
Kawhi was like, yeah, I don't know. You can be ready opening night?
Yeah.
I don't know.
When does it start again?
October 23rd,
He's like trying to make plans with me. He's just like, oh, that's this year? We're
Yeah.
doing that?
Yeah.
Like, wasn't there a lockout?
Yeah, we're having dinner after. We are? 12-1 for the division, plus 235 to make the playoffs, plus 185 for the play-in. And last year they were 51-31. They lost Paul George. They lost Plumlee. They added Derek Jones, Chris Dunn, Nick Batum. Whew. Can you imagine having season tickets for these guys?
It looks like an incredible stadium. And I think getting to watch the West, you go to that stadium.
I'm back. I'm
And
back to why I got the tickets in the first place.
It's gonna be
going for
super
the other
fun.
teams.
But the stadium,
Wemby's in town. Let's go.
the stadium all by itself, I think, the way it looks in the reports so far, it seems
It's
like
amazing.
You've already gone?
My the guy I shared tickets with went yesterday and was sending me videos. I was like, that looks fucking
So you
amazing.
haven't been yet?
I haven't been.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Are you going tomorrow night?
I'm
Or
not.
Thursday?
Why, you want to go? Into it?
I'm tempted.
you guys
but
should go.
I don't know.
The
tell
stadium
me,
is the
'cause-
thing.
Tell me, because I have to leave now to get there in time.
Yeah, it's actually.
Waze is saying 26 hours.
I've been boycotting London football, so I'm.
Oh,
like,
smart.
Yeah,
I like it.
that really.
All right.
wasn't related.
Here's the season ticket package other than the arena. An aging high usage James Harden, probably my least favorite player to watch in
I
person
think he's
of all the good
psyched.
players.
I don't know that there's a player more excited about
he's
this upcoming
It's like
season.
Kawhi,
right?
take your time.
Yeah.
Limping Kawhi, a bunch of role guys, and they have no first round pick because they
They don't
gets to
control the
swap.
draft for the next 5 years.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's brutal.
It's so bad.
It's brutal. But the stadium's going to be amazing. And they basically chose James Harden over Paul George, which is just
I thought the hard
bizarre.
number was a little
Choice.
high, and I still can't believe they didn't do a fourth year of Paul George. But I could also see them being entirely over this thing that has not worked out, even though at the time, if you're trading all of this for Paul George, also guarantees you getting Kawhi Leonard in free agency, you do it. You just
You
do
do.
it. Like, I don't think it's
we said at the time. You got to
anyone
do
that's
it.
going
You
like
don't have
you
a choice.
shouldn't have done it after the fact. Like, just think you gave all that up to then get Paul George and then to have all of this stuff happen. But the Kawhi part of it, it hasn't been right since Toronto, and it's really unfortunate because it looked like they finally had executed the plan you hope to be able to do like one time.
They sent Kawhi home from the Olympic team.
His
They were like, let's
He-
make
he
up an
needed-
excuse.
he
You
had a
can't be
surprise
in the
knee
team.
surgery.
Yeah.
He needed knee surgery.
You can't be in the team. You're not healthy. And then the preseason started, and it's like, still not healthy. But he's going to be ready for opening night. And then it's like, no, he's actually not going to be ready opening night either. Worst season tickets for 2024-25
Draft?
is what? We don't need to do a draft because there's only 5 teams.
Okay.
But who do you have first? Who would you want to have season tickets for the least?
This is the easiest
It's-
question.
yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
obviously
the
Washington.
Okay.
Wizards are
I had them as
Wembanyama
well.
in this draft.
I had them as well.
Yeah.
Is Brooklyn 2?
Where you were just there. There's good pizza places there, right?
Really good food.
So you go.
Feeney Pizza.
So that no, I
Wow.
don't think Brooklyn's too. Plus,
Okay.
Ben Simmons.
Roster?
I'm
Brooklyn's
just saying,
2.
season tickets. I have to go to the stadium. I have to see this team for the next 6
Oh,
months.
well
I'm
then-
going for the other
I
teams.
think it would be Portland.
I think it's Charlotte.
Oh, that's a great point.
I kind of like Charlotte.
Oh, we're gonna have a fun conversation.
I wouldn't mind going to see Charlotte.
Yeah, but you can't say season tickets and then go, but there's a lot of golf in the area. Like, it's about the
I'm not talking
basketball.
about
No,
that.
it
I'm
is.
saying I'm going to the game. Do I like watching the players in the court?
So Brooklyn, you want it. The pizza's so good that you're
No,
going to watch
I had
41
Brooklyn
of those
second.
games.
I had Brooklyn second.
Okay, we have Brooklyn second. We're on the same page.
That's
I have
fine.
the Clippers third. I'd rather see Chicago than the Clippers. Be like Josh Giddey, Kobe White,
You do want to see Kobe White.
Zealous.
I think Toronto needs to be mentioned.
Oh,
Wow. Over Portland?
He went right there.
I have a lot invested emotionally in Portland.
Okay.
So if I were there rooting on my
So
guys,
you'd have Toronto 4th?
it's freezing.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right. Toronto 4th.
Like, oh, cool. Quickly took 27 shots tonight.
Scotty Barnes' crunch time numbers are getting better.
Let's go.
I love Scotty Barnes, so I don't even
Apologies
have a
to
Scotty
Jay
Barnes joke.
Skeets.
It's fine.
Right.
So Washington, Brooklyn, Clippers, Toronto, Chicago, Portland would be our bottom 6.
I mean, I
The point is the Clippers are in the top 3.
They are.
But you're going for the other
could be
teams
honorable
again.
mention as well.
And just personally, and he might be a nice guy, James Harden. Might be a sweetheart of a guy. Might be a great friend.
People
might be
love him.
He's
good
done some
family guy.
Great ringer.
I'm sure he's a great teammate.
He has.
I just don't like watching him play basketball, and we've been watching him now for almost 2 decades. And the fact that this offense is now going to revolve around the heliocentric shit,
4th in MVP.
but he's 35 years old. It sounds horrible.
It
sounds horrible.
I'm excited about it.
Like,
He just made a statement where he was like, everybody said I couldn't do it, but like, look what Luka just did. Like as if Luka.
I saw that, and
Yeah, it was like somehow Luka
got an
copied
no from
him,
him.
and that meant because Luka made it to the NBA Finals, Harden was always right. It reminded me of when Part of My Take brought in Skip Bayless, and Skip complimented himself 3 times within 45 seconds. He thought he was actually complimenting them,
yeah.
but it was like, you guys are the next.
Well, him and Stephen A. created that show.
They created 2 guys talking to each other. It's
Yeah.
fucking unheard of.
Nobody had
before
thought
then.
about that
No,
before.
it's unbelievable.
Under, and it's a lock for me. The Clippers, 37.5. I think they're going to be awful. What do you have, House?
It's an under. I'm not sure whether that's a lock, but it's an easy under.
Under. What do you have?
Under. There's no way I'm touching that over.
Yeah.
That's a healthy number. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I understand that Vegas has already baked in all the different variables here, but
There's a funny Ty Lue thing, too, where people go, well, Ty Lue, I mean, he's an amazing coach. Ty
Okay.
Lue's 312 and 217 as a coach. He's coached way less than people remember. He went 0-6 for the 2019 Cavs and got fired. The 22 team went 42 and 40. Like, if you don't have the roster, you don't have the roster. It doesn't.
yeah,
You can't be like, oh, Ty Lue will make them good. It's like, all right, if he makes them good, they'll be 41 and 41.
put
That would be a
Millsy on
miracle.
the blue line.
So we're going under for all of those. So
All right.
I had for my playoff teams OKC, Phoenix, Minnesota, Dallas, Denver, and Memphis/Sacramento as the top 6, just for the record. So we're going to move to the East. We were just congratulating ourselves during the break for not having the Bronny James conversation. I've never been prouder of the 3 of us. The Milwaukee Bucks are our first team in the Central. Their over-under is 50.5. They are minus 105 for the division.
Speaking of nepotism,
They are 18-1 best record. Plus 850 for the 1 seed. And what they did this offseason, House, they added 7, 8, 9 guys. They added Prince and Wright and Trent, who I think is actually going to start for them. They're a little deeper. My take is they're too old, but I'll give you the floor and then I'll weigh in after. What's your take on the Bucks?
Yeah, it's an under for me. I think they are just running it back. Gary Trent's already hurt. Middleton is hurt. There's, we're in the Middleton. When is he due back? How effective is he going to be? Conversation already, and Dame. It all really boils down to Dame, and he was kind of there for every other game. He's every other game Dame at this point in his career.
You turn into, we talked about this on the pod last year, when you become like a once a week, I'm really good guy in the NBA. And they usually happen.
you're not talking total
mid-30s.
games. You're talking output.
No, I'm just
Output.
saying.
Because he played 70.
No,
I'm saying
right.
Yeah.
once a week
How
he
effective
puts up
can he be?
36 and he looks really good. And then there's that other game when he's like 6 for 19.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, he was in a better spot because he could just put up a million shots and never had any expectation. And I mean, it's cool that he wanted to go somewhere else. But Portland, it was actually safer for him as opposed to some of the limitations. Like there's still, when you talk about just pure shot making, he's on a very short list of guys, even at this age in the NBA, where I think you feel like that firepower is what you want in the playoffs. But the age on this man is starting to get scary. And a lot of these draft picks, granted, it's not like they were drafting super high, but I don't know which ones I feel good about.
Lopez, 36, season 17. Middleton, 33, season 13. Dame, 34, season 13. Giannis, 30, season 12. Portis, 30, season 10. Wright is 32, season 10. And Connaughton's 31, season 10. I was trying to think of other old teams that did well, and I my mind drifted back to that Celtics run in 2012. Basically that 2010 to 2012 range where the team got old. Pierce was at the tail end of being peak Pierce, but Garnett had the knee surgery, wasn't the same. Ray Allen was moving to a different point in his career, and it was just hard for them to get it done during the regular season. There was that one year they were like 25-25. Then they were able to flip the switch in the playoffs. 2010, they made the finals. 2012, they came close to making the finals. Feels like that's more of a Bucks season to me, but I think the league sees it. Like they left Giannis off on Christmas. I think because they didn't think they were one of the best 12 teams in the league. So
that seems ridiculous, though, because I mean, Giannis is the main. Like I felt like even in the end of last year and going into the playoffs, I mean, he gets hurt at the very end. He misses the entire playoffs. Lillard's hurt. He only plays 4 of the 6
You were
playoff
thinking
games
MVP for him at one point.
Yeah, I was. I still think I voted him second.
Yeah.
Did I vote him second? I think I did.
But they were 49-33 last year, and he played the whole season.
Right. Like, I don't want to be disrespectful of him, but when I went through and looked at all of this stuff, I think of the top 10 guys in their 2 deep, there's only one guy in his 20s.
Yeah. So I was thinking about if I'm building a team that I want to at least succeed during the regular season, forget the playoffs, I want to be able to guard point guards, and I want to be able to guard swings, like the Tatum types. This team can't really do either because the Middleton has not been the same since that finals run. And it just seems like he's at a different point in his career.
Now, he's been a minus or a 0 on defense
really for 2 years
seasons.
Now. Yeah.
His turnover rate is up. His free throw rate is down. So he's just, when you're looking for aging numbers, even if he can get it going, like on a certain night.
Right.
But there will be numbers going, okay, he's not grabbing as many rebounds. He's not getting to the free throw line as much.
It's not the same guy.
Just stuff you would expect an older player to be like, I don't want to do all of these things.
Yeah.
But defensively, like the way they match up against Boston on the wings, like that's why when we start talking about the rest of like the East and Boston, there's some teams where I go, I don't think you have an answer for what Boston has, where there's one team in particular where like, at least I can understand your approach and who you would throw at some of these dudes. So,
and Dame
he's played 88 games the last 2 years too, combined.
Dame D- defender, F+, F, or an F-? What would you go with, House?
You want to know why I had so bad is because when the sideline person starts talking about the person's bad defensive reputation and why he's actually a lot better than people realize, that's immediately an
I always
F.
enjoy that. Yeah.
He
tries harder at that end than he gets credit for.
No, Doc says a lot of people think that Luke Cornett's quicker.
So what if this goes badly, House? What if they're 24-26 after 50 games? What is Giannis?
I don't think so. You're trying to speak into existence this
I'm
idea
not
of
trying to
Giannis.
speak anything into existence. I just think that guy's crazy competitive.
He's been super loyal along the way. He has tried to drag the organization.
I think he cares about
along.
titles, man. I don't think he wants to be on a shit team that can't guard anybody.
Well, he's on one.
I know.
That's what he's on right now. So
we'll see. So the best case scenario would be the 2011 Mavs.
Most important ring in the last 10 years?
Giannis?
As far as like the conversation around the person being fair or unfair, imagine how different the conversation around Giannis.
Well, I guess LeBron won again in 2020. I was going to say that 2016 helped out LeBron and Kyrie, the combo. Kyrie's career is completely different if they don't win Game 7, right?
Yeah.
We're not even.
I think that Game 7 result almost is misleading.
Yeah.
For him, not LeBron.
I don't know where Giannis could go, though, when we talk about, well, he's going to ask out. All right, pick a team. Is he going to go to Brooklyn?
You're the only one talking about him asking out. I don't think he's going to ask out.
I think he's a top 4 player in the league, and I think his situation
if it falls
screwed.
apart, I think it's going to be, the old line that I've used all the time is like it's usually not the international guys. because it's not. It's the American guys that ask out. I mean,
Yeah.
eventually there's going to be the international guy.
It almost fell apart last year, just FYI. Like there was.
But Thanasis is not on the team.
Well, he got hurt though. Him and Gigi Jackson got hurt. They ran into each other.
Yeah, but he's not on. He's a free agent.
Oh, he's literally not on the team.
Yeah, let me double check it, but I'm pretty sure
It did almost fall apart last year. They fired the
So
coach.
if Miami just signed Thanasis,
I'm telling you, everybody needs to be on Thanasis alert. Watch.
Thanasis alert.
Make
Let's
sure he's
cut
not.
that into a social.
Make sure he's not on Miami.
Thanasis alert.
Did Miami sign him? That
They
would
signed
be
him
the
this
most
morning.
Miami thing
No,
ever,
I'm just kidding.
wouldn't it?
Well, dude, the Lakers had the other one, like, and then as soon as I think Giannis signed his extension, they're like, cut him.
So you're under, Russillo?
I'm under.
House is under?
I
House
want
is
to.
under.
I want to still like stay respectful of Giannis.
Me
of
too.
what he's capable
But
of.
by the way, we all went under or I went over on Jokic, but
Under.
on Denver, you went under.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a
yeah.
same situation.
Same.
I like Denver's
Same
team a lot
thing.
more than Milwaukee's team.
I do not. I don't like that.
you like Milwaukee's 1 through 9 better than Denver.
I don't think they're going to be able to guard anybody who can get to the basket.
I think-
Giannis is going to have to guard everybody in the other team at all times. And by the way, Lopez might just hit a different point in his career one of these years, right? He's been in the league forever.
It could be this year.
Could be this year.
He's on the trade block.
Here's a team I'm guessing that all of us like, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Their over-under is 48.5. I think there's been some action on that. I want to say that was a little lower. They're plus 240 for the division, which I would encourage as a bet for people out there. They're 11-1 for a 1 seed, which is an interesting hedge against the Celtics if you think weird Celtics shit's going to happen. New coach Kenny Atkinson. And more importantly, they brought everyone back. So new coach, healthy Garland. Mitchell's settled. That situation's settled. They took care of Mobley. Why isn't this a 50-plus win team, House?
I have no idea. I think
I don't understand. Like,
People
how
are
is this team not go
sleeping on-
52 and 30?
the aspect of this, especially that is going to be eye opening, is Kenny Atkinson. I think he's going to be incredible with these guys.
We loved him in Brooklyn, and then Durant and Kyrie showed up, and neither of them played that year.
No,
and
they
somehow he got
signed there.
bounced
They
anyway.
signed there because of the culture.
Yeah,
Remember?
and then they bounced him.
That was my favorite.
It's the
They're
Joe
like,
Tsai culture.
They've done a really good job here with Dinwiddie and D'Angelo Russell and develop these guys. Like, it's good culture.
Top Ringer 100. I had Mitchell 13, and then I had the Garland, Mobley, Jared Allen 45, 47, 51.
So
So
for a top 51.
For a top 51,
Sure.
that speaks to the 50-plus win thing. And then, you know, they signed Allen to a really good contract extension that if Mobley, if it's starting to look like maybe he could play center, Allen becomes a really fun trade piece for them. But I don't think they're going to do it. To me, this is a conference winner. I'm not a conference winner, a division winner. I like the plus 240. I love the over. It's a lock for me, Russillo. What do you got?
Couldn't agree more. Totally aligned
Wow.
on this.
Can't
I just
believe
think
this.
when you look at all of those guys together, I would expect it to go over. Their offense is okay. Their defense has been terrific now for 2 seasons statistically. They shoot it okay enough. Remember, they went 17-1 last year.
Yeah.
Garland missed 25 games. I think the injuries were kind of fluky with him. And, you know, whatever you want to say about the Mitchell overlap thing, like when they get to the playoffs with those 4 guys, I'm no longer into it anymore. The spacing isn't good enough. The Mobley Allen thing is redundant,
Sure.
but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about, like, you know, just Mitchell has these stretches during the season where he looks absolutely unstoppable, which is, even with his imperfections, why so many teams would have gladly taken him. They end up re-signing basically all these guys. So all the speculation, like, it should just be a happier team. I think there was doubt with Bickerstaff too that led into some of the problems they were having. So I'd expect them to be a 50-win team in the East, but the playoff thing is a completely different conversation.
Totally agree. And the math is kind of crazy. All of their most important guys missed around 20 games last season.
Yeah, yeah.
Every one of them, the 4 most important guys.
So we were talking.
And they won 48.
So I think my 3 favorite overs are OKC, Phoenix, and Cleveland. Just the 3 I feel the best about. And, you know, we've hit the super boost. We've hit 3 years in a row, I think,
Oh.
for FanDuel.
Super boost.
So there's an easier one that's OKC 55-plus wins, Phoenix 45-plus, and Cleveland 45-plus. And that's like a little under 2-1. That would be the safe one. There's one where we could do OKC 60-plus, Phoenix 45 plus, Cleveland 45 plus. That's a little over 4-1. There's a Mac Daddy one, OKC 60 plus, Phoenix 50 plus, Cleveland 45 plus 713. Or you could throw Cleveland 50 plus and go get it to like 10-1. But I
like
haven't
toggling
decided it yet.
these. I like the way
It's
I
going to
would
be
take the
one of
OKC
those.
60 and pull it down just because 60 is such rarefied air. Even though I believe in, not Cleveland.
So we could do the
OKC.
OKC 55, Phoenix 45, Cleveland 45, around 2-1 and get them to boost it.
I would be okay with OKC 55, Cleveland 50, Phoenix 50. That's the way I would do it. That's
What do you think?
I'd like both those teams at 50 wins.
Well,
this
if I
year.
like all three of them, you can't. What was Phoenix? 49 and a half in our exercise?
No, it's 47 and a half.
It was
Yeah,
47
it's
and a
a
half?
crazy
Yeah.
So you got to
number.
get north of 50?
Yeah.
Just at
the-
50, right? 50,
Yeah, but
50 cashes.
You can get super conservative and do anyway. FanDuel has a bunch of NBA futures profit boost token they can do. We're going to do a page. We're going to do a super boost. So keep an eye on all that stuff because they're going to have a Bill Simmons NBA futures profit boost tied to this podcast going live Friday, October 18th. 3 futures that will be eligible for the boost. So we'll figure that out. But it's going to be, I think those are the 3 teams, right? OKC, Cleveland, Phoenix. We like those 3, or is there another one you would get excited about?
No, because I think the payout on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, look, Phoenix, even if we can all sit here saying, hey, it's going to be over, it's going to be better, they're going to understand, they're going to point guard, new coach, and all these different things, like, they get hurt all the time.
Right. So 45 is safer
Right.
than 50.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Investor conference?
It's an investor relations call. It's a double call.
I'm so confused.
2 names?
It's
2 stocks.
Darius Garland stock. Where are we sitting? Broke
I
his
made
jaw
so
last
much on
year.
it early.
You sold?
It was just ridiculous. The profit was staring me in my,
So you jumped out.
no, I didn't get out, but I took some profits.
Took some off the
Took
table.
some off.
Took
Yeah.
some off the table. It's fine. Smart. If you
Was-
think it's at a high, you take
So-
a little off.
You thought he stunk.
How dare you?
You did.
Broke his jaw last year.
No, in the
I
beginning.
thought he was a mess.
beginning.
I thought he seemed small. I
Well, he's
got
still
talked
small.
into it.
Yeah.
He does disappear sometimes.
I'd like to recommend.
It's fine. I'm not telling you he's,
Can I make a
Isaiah
recommendation on the
Thomas.
call?
Yeah.
I'd like to go back in and buy a little more. when
Oh,
it's down.
yeah.
Like when
Taste?
Spotify was down to like 75, it's like, when Netflix dropped to 250, I'd like to go back in and buy more Garland. I think he had a fucked up year last year. You've broken jaw, and then you have to play basketball.
These
and you're
dips aren't going to buy themselves, Bill.
All right, let's go to Evan Mobley. How are we feeling? He got a giant contract.
I loved him when Allen wasn't playing.
So is that the answer? That's the reason to buy more stock, because ultimately Jared Allen's probably not going to be on this team, and Evan Mobley will be the
They're a
Well,
fucked
that's
up
a stretch
team.
five.
They're a fucked up team that I like.
That's one reason, but what if Mobley and Allen can play together? What if Kenny Atkinson encourages? What if Evan Mobley has been putting up 1,000 threes a morning?
So that's the thing.
Every
And
morning.
we'll know in the first week
That's
if he's
right.
looking super
Go ahead.
comfortable.
Go ahead, guys.
Oh boy, you're
Are
right.
you serious? Like Mobley's all of a
tiny
sudden just
bit.
going to be draining threes up.
23 years old.
There needed to be some real tangible improvement on the ball skills with him to round him out and being like the player we could hope that he would be. It feels like that's not happening. But I still liked what I saw in the Boston series when Allen wasn't out there.
So you sold your stock?
I don't have the same price target on it that we did 3 years ago.
My price target was too high, and
Those
some
guys
people
are
got fired.
incredible.
It's a tiny
They could be
buy
like,
low.
After the stock goes down 30%, be like,
Yeah.
us over here at so-and-so investments, have we changed our price target? And be like, after you lost me 30% in my position?
Are you locking down Cleveland over?
Yes, it's a lock.
Ooh.
48.5. It's
I have it as a
for
lock
me.
as well.
Absolutely. Not even close. No hesitation or reservation.
Russillo?
I
don't think
know.
you've locked anything yet. We'll
I-
wait.
I'm
We'll do it
waiting
at the
on
end
the
of
lock.
end of part
Yeah.
3. We'll do it.
I'm gonna
Okay.
see where I'm at.
Next team, Indiana Pacers. 47.5 is the number. They won 47 games last year. They made the conference finals. Why wouldn't they be better?
Their
Basically
defense.
brought back the same team,
Eh,
including Siakam,
yeah,
who
that's
was
not the same team.
there for the full year, but the same team we saw in the playoffs. Here's my question, Russillo. Are we sure this isn't the everything went great for this team last year. Everything went awesome.
We're not sure. The Atlanta Hawks, basically, like the fluky conference finals run that we had from
great.
Dallas. Maybe
took some people by surprise for 6 weeks.
Atlanta,
what's this?
Atlanta's the best example of it because Atlanta talked themselves into thinking that they were in that neighborhood. Portland had one of those against Golden State where they got destroyed by them. Dallas in 22, maybe with Golden State a little bit because it's not the same team. But as far as having Luka, so that one's not as fluky as those other two. I understand your point. All the Knicks at the end of it, like who's left?
They beat Milwaukee without Giannis. They beat the falling apart Knicks. Got swept by the Celtics, but the games were a little closer than a sweep. It was a
the first game,
sweep.
they gave game one away.
Yeah.
They actively, it's the single thing that I hold against Halliburton more than anything else.
They blew two of those games in epic fashion.
Epic.
So
41 games with Siakam, though. Only 41 games.
I thought this was the single hardest over-under.
Oh, I'm so surprised.
I changed my mind on it 100 times. I'm like the tiniest of tiny unders. I think they go 47 and 35. I couldn't get high. I couldn't get into the 48, 49, 50 range because I just think a lot of things went right for them last year.
So here's why I would distinguish this team from some of those other teams that went on playoff runs and then we didn't really see them being able to hold it up. Nembhard was an effing revelation in the playoffs, and I don't think he's a flash in the pan. I think that's sustainable. I think that dude can be counted on. When you see that level of execution, that efficiency offensively, that's not an accident. And then Mathurin didn't play. Mathurin wasn't part of that team that went on that run, and I think he's good. So I think they're deep. The thing they have to do is play some goddamn defense. And it's on Rick Carlisle in this offseason to figure out how they're going to play. And Siakam should help with that. All they need to be is like middle of the road defensively. They need to not be bottom five defensively. They can still play at the pace they play at. And that pace is effing badass. They asked Boston, who do you fear in these playoffs? They're like Indiana because they play such a unique style. They're a super hard matchup. I'm on the over for this team.
I can't really fight any of that. What do you have, Russillo?
I had the under because McDermott's no longer signed.
What?
And I went back to the over because they got old friend James Wiseman.
There he is.
Rotation.
There he is.
So that's an over for me.
There he is.
He's only 24.
He's just scratching the surface.
It's like when Darko ended up on
Orlando.
Memphis. And they're like,
Memphis.
Memphis is tapping into something here.
Orlando gave up a lottery pick for him.
I don't feel.
I think that was the Rodney Stuckey pick.
I don't.
Double check.
I just thought this was super hard. So I'm against you guys in this one. One thing on Halliburton, I'm glad House brought him up. I was thinking they don't do the All-NBA the same way where we don't have to pick two guards, even though I still do it because I like to stay a little traditional. But I was thinking about how hard the All-NBA crop is going to be this year, just on paper. Because Luka counts as a guard, SGA, Jalen Brunson, Curry, Edwards, Mitchell, Booker, Fox, Halliburton, John Morant, and then you even go into this Kyrie, Jamal Murray, Tyrese Maxey, Harden, Damian Lillard, Mikal Bridges group. It might be the deepest list of A-list guards that we've had. Like, I can't believe I'm looking at this list. I had Halliburton as my 9th best guard heading into the season. Halliburton was really good last year.
Remember how good he was before the All-Star break, which I also think is part of the conversation around the over that we're having there that I think is worth at least bringing up. 43 games pre-All-Star, 22-4-12, 49-40 shooting splits. The assists are just out of control at that point. 8 threes a game. And then, he's got the groin thing. He was missing time. We didn't know when he was coming back. And the shooting went from 40 to 30% from 3. The assists went down. The points went down.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm changing.
There was going to be less shots
because
of Siakam. But I love that House brought up the Mathurin part too, because look, maybe Mathurin's not a long-term 2-guard small forward where you just pencil in for 20. But when that guy comes in, second unit, and is just attack. And I think they still want to see if they have something in Walker, the lottery pick from Houston. Maybe that's why McDermott's not on the roster anymore. And in the GM survey too, they were like, who runs the best offensive system? And it was overwhelming. It was Rick Carlisle.
All right, I changed my mind. Over.
Yeah, TJ McConnell is on this team.
Nemhart turned into.
They're good. Something
good.
scares me
Johnson
about it.
last
Like,
year.
why? It feels like they're trying to. Why
I
is it
also
so
thought
low?
Halliburton at the Olympics was incredible. And all of his like Caitlin Clark stuff. Halliburton and his girlfriend are friends with Caitlin and her boyfriend. They got their whole thing. I think he's a good
I'm going under now. What was that?
So, that was, I want to make sure Tommy Alter's still listening to the pod. Segue.
No, I mentioned it because I like the glue concept of it, right?
No, he was
Glue
an awesome
guy,
teammate.
yeah.
That's a
You
good
want
point.
your leader to be
All
a
right.
glue
All
guy.
right, back to over. I didn't understand.
I'm going.
That's all. You don't like
I like
Caitlin
that
Clark?
They signed Wiseman and you were back in.
All
right. I'm changing
you
my
wish you were
pick. I'm
Caitlin
going
Clark's
over.
boyfriend.
You guys talk me
I think
into it.
that would
I
be
just want to
weird.
be right. I want us all to be right. Chicago Bulls.
Yes, under. I hate this team. I mean, I like Giddey, kind of. Lonzo, I'm thrilled. He's going to be playing the first game since January 14th of 22. Or is it 21?
I had him in the depth chart with a question mark next to him because I don't know if he's going to play, but I hope he does.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's going to be almost 3 years.
Yeah.
They re-signed Patrick Williams. I think maybe because
For a lot of money.
they heard Presti liked him.
Is that true?
No, I couldn't believe
would've
that
believed that.
contract. I mean, he hasn't really even done anything yet.
I thought it was awful.
Buzelis, I'm excited. This team,
I like Buzelis.
this is a team stuck in something that's not good.
A lot of Buzelis buzz. House was talking about him yesterday. He made
I
me
did
go
bet him
Google
10
him.
to
I had
1
to-
rookie of the
House
year.
bet him for rookie of the year.
Still have some Dalen Terry shares.
I just think that Buzelis is going to get run. Like when you look at the rookies that are going to get minutes with this lineup, with this team, with this constitution, I think the kid's going to get some shine. They have a top 10 protected draft pick. But here's the thing that makes it hard for the over-under. You can be among the 10 worst teams and still win 30 or 31 games. If you look at last season.
I don't know if that's going to be the case this year, though. And also, when you're top 10, you can't really fuck around. You really have
I
to get in the
guess you're
bottom
right.
8.
I guess, okay,
And
fair
bottom
enough.
8 is like 28 and down.
Is it worth it? Because I did the 5 worst win totals for the last 5 years, and it's higher than you think it is.
For what, the 8th spot?
No, the 5 worst win totals.
Okay.
So who had the least amount of wins? So last year it was 14, 15, 21, 21, 22. 2 years ago, 17, 22, 22, 27, 33. 33 wins was the 5th lowest.
Fifth.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Right?
That's why.
Okay. I think it's important to do these just as we start getting to some of these
I
other
agree.
teams. 3 years ago, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25. 4 years ago, 17, 20, 21, 22, 22. And then it was a disaster 5 years ago, 15, 19,
Some of
19,
that has
20,
to do with
20.
Some of that has to do with how top heavy the league is, though. And it
I
feels
try
like
to
the league
figure
is
out,
top heavier this year than usual.
When we've done this, now for years, at least with me being
Yeah.
invited into it, which I appreciate, I've had like overwhelming theories on how to handle the bad teams. And you go, okay, well, if Cooper Flag is the prize, then it's going to get really weird here at the end. But I thought that was going to be the same thing with Wembanyama, and it still felt like it took too long.
Yeah.
Tanking doesn't feel as extreme today as it was years ago, and that's probably partly due with the playing game and flattening the odds a little bit on the lottery.
39 and 43 last year, and House made the key point. Top 10 protected pick owed to the Spurs.
I'm taking the over
Okay.
because I think that they are going to win 28 games.
Yeah,
And that's it.
right. I mean,
That's all.
sometimes with the explanation of the over, it's like, what's wrong with you? And you're like, no, I still think they're terrible.
Yeah, they are terrible.
So you're going
But,
over?
Yeah.
No, I'm going under. I don't. They've got a million guards. I feel like the Levine part of it. That boy. I mean, he just.
Tough summer for
I
Zach.
don't think. Did he not iron?
Didn't have the
get those guys
investor
an
relations
iron?
call for Zach.
Yeah.
So this team the last 9 years was 310 and 401, which is 6th worst. I finally was able to get StatMuse to give me that after I searched it
Are you
9
sure
different
it's
ways.
right?
It
No,
seems
you
right.
need to check it.
Seems right. But
I
then
swear to God, StatMuse is just a huge joke. They're just back there in like a room,
just
being
fucking
like,
with us.
Like a guy just asked for the Celtics home and away record in the 60s. Like, tell him that Steve Carlton had 40 complete games in a row.
That'd be amazing if it was all the wrong information.
I don't understand where this is going. I
How
already
many
did it at the
championships
top.
have the
Right.
Bulls won? 18.
This may not be what you want, but
And then they pushed the subscriber button where it's like you could, for StatMuse subscribers, get all of this. I'm
Andres
like, you're not giving us the
Galarraga
right
was
stuff.
originally from. Like, what the fuck is this?
Anyway, after this year, because they're going to be bad, they're probably going to be the bottom 3 for the last 10 years. But I was looking at the Reinsdorfs, because this is now year 10 of the we don't really give a shit plan. They paid the luxury tax once. They haven't won a playoff series since 2015. The Last Dance was probably their highlight of the 2020s. Just that showing on TV.
Good job.
They have 6 titles. They put those out, but their franchise has either quadrupled or quintupled in value over the last 10 years.
Go.
They might be geniuses.
There you
Maybe
go.
they're playing this perfectly. Like, why pay the tax if you don't care about the team? Your franchise is going up anyway. You have the illusion of hope every year with something. This year it's like, hey, we got Josh Giddey. We got Kobe White.
This is the family that owns the White Sox.
Right.
Hello.
Good point.
Yeah. They give 0 shits.
Well, Levine is untradeable unless the Lakers panic. And I thought Russillo just made a key point. It's players that you would like separately, but maybe not together. Like Kobe White with Giddey, with Levine. I'm not sure I'm excited about that.
There's just so many guards. I don't understand.
Yeah,
And like
it's a lot of-
Levine was miserable. Maybe he'll be thrilled that DeRozan's gone, not taking his late game possessions.
Maybe.
Maybe a little overtaste for you there.
Billy
But yeah,
Donovan's
like when
not
I was
gonna,
talking
like-
about it, I was like, boy, his uniform wasn't ironed. You can't even get the wrinkles out for picture day.
We like Bud Zealous, though.
Maybe. Yeah.
We'll
I mean, he
see.
was fun.
He's raw.
He was a
Interesting.
fun draft
Raw.
prospect to watch. But if he can't shoot it, he's toast.
Yeah.
There
Maybe
was
they'll
there was some interesting training camp quotes from the coaches and teammates that they seemed unusually high on him. You know, I know they have to say whatever about the rookies, but they were kind of like Donovan after the first practice was, he's going to play for us.
Oh,
Like, he was just like, just point blank.
okay.
Just, I'm going to solve this now. There's going to be no G League for this guy. He's playing for us. So we'll see. Uh-oh. It's a Josh Giddey investor relations call.
Wow.
I'm not here.
Not interested. He's not subscribed to the call.
No, I don't want to talk to the investors.
About Josh Giddey?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, you're going to play dumb because you bought so much Josh Giddey stock?
Yeah.
Russillo and I were the
Oh,
only two
no.
people who liked that trade last summer. We went all in on it. And I liked it for both teams. I just thought,
Yeah,
I'm in on Josh Giddey still.
Yeah.
I think he's a good basketball player. And I don't want to take the under because I was actually rooting for them to be fun to watch so that we would be right about the Giddey trade. But that 28.5 is too high for me. So I am going under.
Well, it's 27.5. Does that change your mind?
Is that what it is right now?
I thought so.
No, it went up to 28.5.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
No, it's
No,
28
maybe
now.
I have to get out of this.
That's it?
So
One win?
29? I'll stay in. 29 is still pretty crappy.
What do you mean 29? That's what it is now?
I understand. I got you. Over. And then I get rewarded for my
Yeah,
commitment.
it's 28.5.
Yeah, I get it. 28.5. I'm going to stick with my over. I'm not
Stat
gonna change
Muse.
my-
What is the Chicago over under? Here's the weather in Tampa.
42. All right. So house is over.
I'll stick
Russillo and
with
I
my
are
over.
under. Last but not least, the Detroit Pistons. Their over-under is 25.5. They have a new head coach, JB Bickerstaff. They won 14 games last year. They added Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley,
And
and the one and only Tobias Harris, who finally is unleashed.
right system, right time.
Plus 980 for the playoffs. Just throwing it out there. Cunningham, after the All-Star break, 25, 5, and 8, 39% from 3. I was going to have an investor relations call, but I think we're good. I don't think we need one about
It got
Cade.
really scary when there was that ringer piece from Zach on Cade. I'm going, wait, he's a super inefficient, high volume guy. Like, I hate these players.
Why am I
And
still in?
then things got a lot better, but not great. I can't believe this team won one less game with this roster than the Wizards did. Monty Williams, this has got to be one of the worst coaching jobs. And he sounded as if during the season he was surprised about players on his own team.
It was a robbery.
Yeah. Like apparently he didn't want it.
It
They
was
kept
like
raising
Den
the
of Thieves
price.
too. Monty
Yeah.
Williams goes to Detroit. And
He was
just
closing games with
steals
Killian
80 million
Hayes.
from them.
Like think about it. We're
Yeah.
closing games with Killian
Who's not
Hayes,
in the league.
who's not in the league as a lottery pick.
Over Ivy. Yeah, we were talking about it when it happened. I like the over 25.5.
Love the over.
Yeah.
I think this team's going to be frisky.
All of us.
Yeah.
Me too. They're trying. With these acquisitions, show that they're trying, right?
If you just go through the team,
Is there a better point guard depth chart than Cade, Sasser, Ivy, Wendell Moore?
it's pretty good. It's solid.
Maybe the best in the league?
Listen, Thompson, I thought had some interesting moments last year. He's at least rebounding defense guy.
Sure.
Fontecchio was so good. Utah was like, we just got to fucking get rid of this guy. He's going to fuck up our draft pick.
Bobby Clintman, finally in the league. Ron Holland.
Big Stu?
They have Fred Vincent. They hired Fred Vincent to come in and help these
D-ball
guys learn how
Paul.
to shoot.
Lamar Stevens
Austin
gives you
Thompson.
solid minutes.
Well, last year we were watching them going, who put this team together and were they drunk? Why did they just have all these big guys and guards and no shooting? And what made anyone think in 2023 this was the type of team you'd want to put together? Now they have shooting. They figured out at least we got to just play Ivy and Cunningham together and let them figure it out. They have rebounding. Their center is one of the I think 4 best rebounding title odds this year. And then Harris, I don't know. I'm kind of rooting for him. I don't know why. Mainly because it would enrage Russillo if he scored like 24 a game for Detroit the first month. I am happily over on this. So Russillo, you're over, and House is
I am
over.
I wouldn't be mad at Tobias Harris scoring buckets. I feel like Philly didn't even appreciate him.
That was tough for the Tobias Hive. It was tough with the take charge. Those how he didn't take it a charge since like 2019. Remember that?
Keep the game moving. I loved it. Less whistles.
So out of Toronto, Detroit, Chicago, Brooklyn, and Washington, I think I like Detroit the most out of those 5.
Wow.
Say it again.
Toronto, Detroit, Chicago, Brooklyn, Washington, and I'll throw in Charlotte too.
Chicago might be, even though I went under on it. I don't know. That was a reach. Last night when I went to bed, I didn't know what to do with this number, but it's just the last ditch effort of the Cade, Ivy, Wiseman. I'm just kidding. Wiseman's on the Pacers.
All right, so here's what we did. Phoenix, 47.5. We all went over. I made it a lock. Anyone else want to lock that down, or we're going to wait? All right, House is locking it down too.
I don't have to wait.
Okay.
Lock.
You're locking it too?
Yep.
Okay.
Wow.
So we have that. We have the Sacramento Kings, 44.5. We all went over on that. Golden State Warriors, 43.5. Russillo and I went over. House went under. The Lakers, 42.5. I really want to put a lock on it, but I don't want to waste one. We all went under on that. And then Clippers, 37.5. We all went under, and I'm putting a lockdown on that too, because I don't think that team's going to be very good, and it's going to be sad. And then in the Central, Milwaukee, 50.5. We all went under. Cleveland, 48.5. We went over, and me and House locked that one down. You want to lock that down, Russillo?
I'll give you my lock list when we're through it all.
Okay.
'Cause I kind of like changed my mind in the course of today.
Totally fine. Indiana, 47.5. You guys talked me into it. We all went over. Chicago, 28.5. Under for me, under for Russillo, over for House. And then finally, Detroit, over 25.5. We all said that sounds great. So there you go. That is the end of part 2. Thanks to Russillo and Cerruti and Gahau. And don't forget, you can listen to part 1 and you can listen to part 3 a little bit later. And you can watch all of this on the YouTube channel, the Bill Simmons channel. Thank you, fellas. I'll see you for part 3.